Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Jets finally got it right. That's right, they finally got it right. What's going on, everybody? Rob with RGF Media, and on this one, I'm going to be going over the Aaron Glenn and Danny Muji, however you say it, introduction press conference that was held today at 1 p.m. I wanted to get this out a lot earlier, but I just got home after an extremely long day and finally have a chance. But this is just a video that I felt like couldn't wait until tomorrow or whenever I'd have the chance. Look, if you watch that press conference, first off, that was probably the best introduction press conference I've ever seen from any head coach ever. I think it really solidified a few things, but first and foremost, I mean, if you're not convinced this is the right guy, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. After over a decade of suffering as a Jets fan, just never getting it right, always getting the other guy, or the sloppy seconds, for lack of a better terms. It finally feels like we have somebody in the room who's ready to take control of this organization, and that's Aaron Glenn. That's not Muji. And you saw that from this press conference. Muji went first, and it was good. He was talking about being on a unified front, going over the roster with Aaron Glenn. It's not just a one-person, one-trick pony kind of thing where it's one person's opinion matters more than the other. It's going to be a coalition of finding the best guys, finding the best talent for this team, and building through that. But his part was very short. It was maybe a few minutes. And then you get to Aaron Glenn, and I mean, that guy controlled the room from the time he stepped up to that podium. He controlled the room. Just a lot of conviction in what he was saying. It was a breath of fresh air from the whole Saleh press introduction and all that. There wasn't any fancy slogans, all gas, no brake. If you ain't got haters, you ain't popping. It didn't have stupid phrases or anything like that. It wasn't about, oh, well, my job is to make these guys as much money as possible. Aaron Glenn took control of that. I mean, and there was a reason behind everything. First off, I like how he kind of got in front of the whole Aaron Rodgers situation, saying, yeah, we reached out to him, Muji and I, we're gonna leave no stone unturned when it comes to building this roster, because we're going to get guys who want to be here, and we're going to get football players. And then you hear how, I forget who it was, I think it was Rich Cimini, asking how he's kind of going to change that culture and everything else. And, his answer was exactly what us Jets fans want to hear, exactly what we want to hear. It was about accountability. Preach accountability. But what was great, really great about it is, well, you always hear, right? All these head coaches or OCs, whatever coaches, you always hear, oh, well, accountability. We're going to be the most accountable team, whatever it is. But for Aaron Glenn, he took ownership of that, because what he said was, there's going to be accountability by understanding responsibility, and that's on us, the coaches, to make sure that these guys understand their responsibility, and once they do, then they can be held accountable. So, that right away, what have we been asking for, right? Accountability, somebody who's going to take the reins, actual coaching, because for the past couple seasons, it looks like nobody's been coached on anything. The fundamentals, Aaron Glenn preached the fundamentals, understanding your assignments, understanding your responsibility, and then you can be held accountable. And then when talking about, again, with the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, it's, look, we're gonna have a discussion about this, and then that goes for a lot of other players, paraphrasing, I don't have the exact quote for me, but basically, that goes for a few players on his team. Like, look, man, to Aaron Rodgers, you're not in charge anymore. The big boys are in charge. This is my team. I'm going to run it the way I'm going to run it. I don't care if your feelings are hurt. I don't care if you don't have all your best friends here. You either want to be here or you don't. And look, I've said it before. Me personally, I'm all for just cutting Rodgers, starting completely fresh, having no stench of the past regime, which, I mean, really, Aaron Rodgers was the regime. There was no leadership. Having no stench of that in this new regime. But if Aaron Glenn and Muji come to the conclusion, you know what, Aaron Rodgers is our best chance, hey, I'm cool with it. One thing this interview did was gave me a lot of trust in this guy. A lot of trust. And we knew Aaron Glenn as the football player, great football player. We understand what he's done, built himself up through the ranks. Which another point is, I really like how he was talking about when, you know, him and his wife were talking about him going back to coaching, and the first person he called was Bill Parcells. He said, hey, I want to get to coaching. And Parcells said, no, you're not. You're going to be a scout. And even though he didn't want to be a scout, he did things the right way. He put his head down, he tied up his shoes, and he went to work, and he built himself up through the ranks. And I think something like that, having gone through that, kind of being humbled a little bit, right? Like, you know, Aaron Glenn, all, you know, Pro Bowl cornerback, all pro cornerback, played for Parcells. One of his guys calls him up, you know, maybe hoping to get a little reassurance from Parcells. And Parcells kind of humbles him a little bit, kind of like, hey, fella, like, you're going to start out at the lower ranks, and then you're going to work yourself up. And I think that built a lot of character, and I think that helped Aaron Glenn really understand the coaching world and the behind the scenes front office world of football, because he always knew the field. He understands the X's and O's. He understands how to communicate to players. But it was that other piece that he really didn't have. And Parcells was kind of like, look, this is how you have to do it. You know, again, I mean, the coaches this guy's been around, Parcells, which he called the greatest coach ever, which is debatable, you know. Obviously, Belichick won more rings, but, I mean, Parcells, everywhere he went, he turned it around. So, Parcells, Sean Payton, Dan Campbell, I mean, this guy's had great influence after great influence after great influence. And all three of those similar people, right? No nonsense. You do your job, and you do it well. If you don't know your job, you're not going to be here. And that's the culture change. You know, I think one of the biggest things this press conference was, it established this is Aaron Glenn's team. This isn't, you know, Muji, the GM, he's making decisions. No, this is Aaron Glenn's team. Muji just gets the guys Aaron Glenn needs. That there was no doubt about that after seeing this, and, you know, talking about the head coaching, the coordinator search and everything. It's a breath of air of him saying, I'm not calling the plays, because for me to be the best coach, I need to be the best game manager. Again, something along those lines, paraphrasing. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but I mean, that alone, that's a lot of wherewithal for a first-time head coach, right? Especially, you know, a first-time head coach maybe want to take control of their side of the ball that they were familiar with, because at least, like, they'll have more control over, you know, all that stuff. But he's like, no, man, I'm gonna trust the guys I bring in, because I'm gonna bring in the right guys. I'm not gonna, you know, bow down and bring in, you know, somebody because a favor or whatever. I'm gonna hire the right guys. I'm gonna hire guys that fit what we want to do. That way everyone's on the same page. And man, look, I can't stop saying it. The Jets got the right guy. They did. They got the right guy. I know I passed a couple of videos. I said, you know, Vrabel is my first choice. If I had seen into the future and saw that press conference, I would have said Aaron Glenn's my first choice. I mean, that guy, he lit a fire under me, and I hope he lit a fire under the rest of his fan base, because he didn't just say all the right things like previous head coaches in the past. He put an emphasis behind it, and he put reason behind it. No, this is how we're going to change the culture. Not, oh, well, we're going to change the culture by building the best culture kind of stuff. You know, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. There was meaning behind this, and there was a lot of emphasis. And of course, the best line, the best quote I've ever seen, we're the freaking New York Jets, and we were built for this shit. I love it. I love it. Give me all the Aaron Glenn. I will take all the Aaron Glenn. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Do you like the Aaron Glenn hire? What did you think of his press conference? All that good stuff. Until then, let's go Jets.